Hello class 9 student, this is Neha Singh, your science teacher, is again here with the last part of your first chapter, that is matter in our surrounding. In our previous videos, we have studied about the different states of matter, what are the properties of their states and how can we change them from one state to another. Like solid could be changed into liquid by increasing the temperature. Liquid can be changed into the gases by again increasing the temperature. So this process of changing of liquid into gases, it is known as vaporization, and the heat that is extra required other than its boiling point is known as latent heat of vaporization. And the process through which the solid changes into the liquid by increasing the temperature, it is known as melting, or we call them a fusion. And the heat that is required, more heat other than its melting point that we require, it is known as latent heat of vaporization. We have talked about also the one state of matter in which the solid is directly converting into the gases by increasing the temperature, and that process is known as sublimation without leaving any of the liquid particles, right? So if we talk about this, the gaseous particles could be again changing into the liquid particles by lowering the temperature, and this process is known as condensation. By lowering the temperature, that means we are just lowering the kinetic energy, and by lowering it, we can easily compress the gases into the liquid state. Similarly, the liquid could be changed into the solid state by freezing it by lowering its temperature, and that process is known as freezing. So the ice, you can see here in this picture, the particles are close together in the form of ice. When we are providing the melting heat and the latent heat, the water move faster and they become further apart and they'll change into the liquid. And when we provide the heat, again the particles become more far apart and they move very quickly and randomly, and they change into the steam, that is the gas form, gas state of the matter. We talked about the latent heat also, that the latent heat does not rise the temperature of boiling point or does not rise the temperature like melting point, but it is actually the continuously heat we are providing to the boiling water that will be able to break the force of attraction between the particles. The rise in the temperature will not be observed in that case. The boiling point will remain 100 degrees Celsius only, or melting point will remain 0 degrees Celsius only if we are continuously supplying to any of the particle. So we can say the effect of this temperature on the molecular motion, that the solid, if they are cold, they are close enough, and then we become hot, so they become very far apart. Similarly with the cases of liquids, when they are cold, so they are little closer, and they are not arranged in regular manner also. When they are hot, they become very far apart and ultimately goes into the gaseous state. Now let's talk about the pressure also. If we are applying the force, we are applying the pressure on the particles, so they change its shape, or they can come closer, right? But when we talk about the solid particles, there's no compressibility. So the effect of pressure will be, it will break down the particular solid particles if it is having the more force of attraction, but it will not change. They cannot come closer enough, right? Similarly with the liquid case, they are not even good compressible. We cannot compress them and we cannot make them solid directly. So only the gases were having the good effect of the pressure. So when we apply a pressure on the gases particles, they come closer and they change into the liquid. By applying pressure means we are applying the force on the above side, right? Plus what we are doing, we are increasing the force per unit area. Pressure is the force per unit area. A particular area, how much force we are applying, how much push or pulling we are doing, that will described as the pressure. So gases will show this effect. So these could be changed into the liquid state. So by reducing the temperature, firstly we lower their kinetic energy, and then we apply the force, then they will convert into the liquid state. So the LPG, liquid petroleum gas, CNG, compressed natural gas, and oxygen can be liquefied and can be filled in the cylinders for our further uses. One more example is there, the compressed solid carbon dioxide, their gas CO2, when we lower the temperature and when we apply the pressure, it will convert directly into the solid state, solid carbon dioxide. It is not having any liquid particle, so we are also calling it as a dry ice. Or when this state has been the pressure has been removed or the temperature has been removed, they will ultimately convert it into the gaseous state again. So we are calling it a dry ice. So compressed solid carbon dioxide, which is also known as a dry ice, if we are reducing the pressure directly, it will directly change into the gases without coming into the liquid state. So that's why we are calling it a dry ice, because it is not having any liquid particles. So till now we have learned the interconversion of states of matter, that solid could be changed into the liquid, liquid could be changed into the gases, and gases could be changed into the solid, and vice versa. Only some of the gases, or some of the solids are having the property of changing directly into the gases because of their force of attraction between the particles. By getting a slight amount of heat, they convert directly into the gases. So the force of attraction is not much enough between the solid and the gases at that point. Not all the gases could convert directly into the solid. Not all the solid could get converted into the gaseous state. I hope you could understand this point here. Next and the last topic, you can say that in our this chapter, is the important factor that we observed every day, that is the evaporation. Evaporation is the changing of liquid into a vapor state, is known as evaporation. You might have said that, ma'am, it is to vaporization or boiling. Yes, but if the changing is happening at any temperature, not at its boiling point, but it should be below at the boiling point, then we call that vaporization process as evaporation. When you might have seen when the water spills on the ground, so after some time it just vanish away, right? Where does it go? It absorbs the heat from the surrounding and it evaporates. It's changed into the liquid state, but without reaching to its boiling point. So it is a surface phenomena. The more particles will be on the surface, the more evaporation will be done, right? So particles of the surface, they are only gaining the energy to overcome the force of attraction and changing into the vapor state. So this is evaporation. But there are many factors that are affecting the evaporation. The first one is the surface area only, because I have told you that it is a surface phenomena. So only the surface layer particles, they absorb the heat from the surrounding and they overcome the barrier of force of attraction and they release into the matter. They release into the gaseous state. So we can say that if the surface area will be large enough, then the particles will gain the more energy. More particles will gain the more energy. They will become, their kinetic energy will increase and they will change into the gaseous state. So increasing the surface area will increase the rate of evaporation. Next is temperature. The temperature increases the rate of evaporation. The more the heat, the more the temperature, the more amount of water will be. They are getting the more heat together and they will be moving in the vapor state very fastly. The rate of evaporation increases, so the temperature on increasing the temperature of the liquid. So it depends upon the liquid. As the liquid particles, they are getting the heat from the nature, but the temperature should be below its boiling point, so that the liquid could get the enough kinetic energy to go into the vapor state by increasing the temperature also. Next is humidity. What do you mean by humidity? Humidity is actually the amount of moisture in air. Nami, right? Amount of moisture in air. Humidity, amount of moisture present in air. So if the space in the air is already attained by the humidity, or we can say the water particles already, then the evaporation rate will become slow, because they will not find any space to evaporate and to get into the accumulated in that space. So as the air increases, so the humidity will decreases, right? And the humidity, is large enough, then the rate of evaporation will be slow. Next is wind speed. The more the wind speed, that wind will blow out with them the water vapor that are already present in the air. So as the wind increases, speed increases, the amount of evaporation, you can say the rate of evaporation is also increases. That's why you can say that at a windy day, dry day or windy day, your wet clothes will become dry very fast because of high speed. So they'll take up the water easily, they flow the humidity or the moisture that is already present in the air with them. Hopefully those factors you are able to get all the factors here. But most important thing, that is the evaporation. Why we are studying this? Because this evaporation causes cooling. Because what is doing, the particles of the liquid in which it is capturing, it is absorbing the heat from that surface. If they are absorbing the heat from that surface, so they are actually feeling the temperature will become lower down. That's why when you pour some of the sanitizer or any alcohol or any petrol or diesel on your hand, so it vanishes away. It will continuously changing into its vapor state by absorbing the heat from your palm. So where does it getting the heat? From your palm, right? So if you are getting the heat, that's why you feel very cold at that time. Similarly, you can see that during very hot summer days, so some people, they sprinkle water on the surfaces, on the ground, on the open surfaces, so that the water absorbs the heat from the ground or from the surrounding, and they will evaporate in the form of vapor state, but on the surrounding area will become cool, right? Similarly, we wear keep us cool, we wear the cotton clothes because they evaporate the sweat, they absorb the sweat, and the sweat can be absorbed easily, changing into the vapor state by getting the heat from the body, by getting the heat from the surrounding as well. So how it is working, like the warm air will come, it will mixed with the water, right? The water, what it will do, it will just really take up the heat from the warm air, and the cooler air will be moved further, right? Similarly, in desert cooler, the cooler that you might have used in your summer days, the warm air comes, you always kept your coolers outside windows, right? Why? Because they can enter the warm air from it, and you have khaskhas all around it, and you fill the water tank over there also, and keep watering the khaskhas. So when you you can say that the warm air enters into it, the water will get the heat up and it gets evaporated, and with the pump and with the fan, you will feel the cool air. So if it is an example also, the evaporation, yes, the water gets evaporated. That's why you have to fill the water every day in a very hot summer days, during the very hot summer days, right? So I hope this chapter, the evaporation, the other states of matter, 5 different states of matter, the properties of matter, is clear to you all. So we'll meet you in the next chapter. Till then, keep learning, keep growing with us, and thank you so much everyone for listening.